Hey everyone, Jeremy from the Snowboard Asylum, and in this video we're going to be looking at the 2223 Bataleon Distortia. Sharing much of its DNA with the evil twin, the Distortia is the Ride Anything freestyle model in the Bataleon Women's collection. Built around a blunt diamond tip true twin tip shape, the Distortia delivers a balanced overall ride to give you the maximum control in the park. However, thanks to the clever geometry in those diamond tips, you trick the tips into behaving like they're longer and fuller than they actually are, giving you more lift than you'd usually expect from a true twin, all without compromising balance and control. So, no matter if you're lapping the park or out cruising the mountain, the Distortia isn't going to feel out of place. Now, the shape is only one of the key factors that makes the Distortia so versatile. The other, and possibly the main factor, is the combination of traditional camber and the twin 3BT with Sidekicks base profile. This innovative 3D base shape, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail later in the video, enhances performance on the edge and gives a more stable and responsive ride in the turn, once again enhancing the Ride Anything credentials of this board. But not only does it help the board turn, it also increases float at the nose and tail, whilst also lifting the contact points clear of the snow for a hook-free rides. In other words, just further enhancing the all-terrain properties that you need for a great all-terrain board. Now, the Distortia isn't just about shape, it's also about high quality manufacture, and heading up the Distortia's quality build is the lightweight light core. Combining an even mix of poplar and paulownia creates a durable yet lightweight foundation for the board. Now, to add an extra level of pop and power to the cord, it features a pre-cured carbon tube inserted into a channel running between the inserts. This powers up the centre of the board between the feet, giving a more dynamic overall ride. This is then matched with playful bias glass structural layers reinforced with carbon cross racers on the lower band at the tip and tail. This combination gives the board a more playful torsional flex through the centre of the board, whilst giving the tip and tail a more dynamic and poppy feel. Finally, to make sure that the Distortia can deliver its performance no matter the conditions, it features the sintered Hyperglide S base. This high quality base material is tough and durable and has great wax holding properties. So, to summarise the Distortia, if you're after a board that's going to kill it in the park as well as kill it out on the mountain, a board that's easy to ride but which can also ride at the highest level, then the Bataleon Distortia might just be the perfect board for you. So, let's take a look at this board in a little bit more detail and see what makes it tick. So, shape, true twin with blunt diamond tips. So, true twin basically means the board's identical tip and tail, rides exactly the same in both directions. Right, the blunt diamond tipped shape is quite an interesting geometry on this, and it brings some pretty good advantages to the board. So, blunt tip, they've just kind of got rid of any excess materials from these points here. Also, if you look at how they've shaped it, they've brought it straight in a lot steeper angle from the contact points. So, you know, a traditional board would round off there, but as I say, you've got this kind of steep in cut here and these two cutbacks here. So removing this excess material from these parts and this part here just reduces the swing weight. So that drops the inertia down at the tips, so when this board is spinning, you've got a lot more control. But more importantly, what the diamond tips do, they trick the board into thinking that the noses and tail are longer than they actually are. So if you measure up to this point, it's quite long for a twin, but because you've reduced that material there, you've got length without weight. So it just makes the board a lot more versatile when you're riding around the mountain without compromising any of its freestyle credentials. Okay, width-wise, comes in at a regular width. So the 43 is 23.3 centimetres at the waist width, 46 23.9 at the waist, and the 49 24.3 at the waist. By having that regular waist width, it means that the board is going to go toe to heel edge quite quickly. That's going to give you lots and lots of control and make the board react to any inputs that you put into it. But then what they also do, they add like a regular side cut to it as well. So it's not deep and it's not long. So you basically, 43 is a 7.4 metre radius, 46 is a 7.5 metre radius, and the 49 is 7.7 metre radius. So that kind of regular radius side cut working in conjunction with that medium or regular width means that the board isn't going to kind of be too aggressive when you get on an edge. So if you're on a run into a jump, you don't want the board reacting quickly. You want it to kind of be controllable, and that combination of regular width and regular side cut just gives you that perfect combination. What it also does as well when you're riding a board on piste, it means that it's going to be really good on short radius turns, and it's going to be equally good on long radius turns. Obviously, if you go for a tight side cut, it's going to be really quick edge to edge, but not so good on long turns, and the opposite with the long radius side cut. So this medium side cut is a perfect compromise of short and long to give you a really good mixed ride. Now, in terms of profile, utilises a regular camber. As you can see there, what that regular camber does when the board is on its edge and you're compressing that camber out, it's going to power up that side cut along its full length and just give you a really stable, positive ride. It's also going to add a little bit of extra pop into the board. Now, I guess we come to like the thing that really separates Bataleon from most other brands, and that is the 3BT base profile. So hopefully you can see this, I don't know if you can, but basically what 3BT is, it's a three-dimensional profiling of the base at the tip and tail. So if you look here, you've got a flat centre section in the middle of the board, and then you've got two side bases which kind of angle upwards. So on the Distortia, this is the twin 3BT, so it's got a slightly wider centre base section. Having a slightly wider centre base section just makes the board a little bit more stable at slow speeds, just gives you a little bit more control in the park. But going to the side base upturns, what the side base upturns do is just make this board turn a lot better. So when you're riding along and the board is on its edge, this is the optimum angle between your feet, because obviously you're controlling it. But the way torsional flex works is the board is going to flex like this. So the further away you get from the feet, the more that these parts of the board are wanting to return back to flat. And the downside of these wanting to return back to flat is that means you have to compensate for that with your riding. So when you're initiating a turn, you need to power up this contact point here for it to engage and to hold into the snow. When you're powering out of a turn, you need to kind of power up the tail and keep this from letting go. What 3BT does, by pre-angling this section of the board, when that board is now on its edge, these are in their natural position. They are no longer wanting to return to flat. So when you've got that board compressed through the turn, that side cut is powered up all the way along its edge, and these parts aren't wanting to return to flat. So all you need to do on this board when you're riding it is just stand in the middle of it. You just ride it neutrally and let the board do all the work. You don't need to shift your body weight round to compensate for these contact points not engaging, as they're engaged naturally because the board isn't flexing them loose. What it also does as well, which is a really good thing for this kind of board, and a side effect of the 3BT, when you compress that board down, you actually lift these contact points clear. So you're creating a more hook-free and playful ride to the board. You don't need to worry about catching an edge at slower speeds. So you're automatically getting a more freestyle feel to the board. But because you've got that camber, you're not compromising any of the performance on the edge. What it also does, and again helps with the versatility of the board, because you've got this 3D shaping of the nose, it's very much like the hull of a boat. So working in conjunction with that extra length in the diamond tips, this board is going to float and blast through chop and crud a lot easier than a twin. This board's pretty effortless in powder. Again, just creating such a versatile ride. What you've also got as well is Sidekicks. Now Sidekicks has been on the Bataleon collection for a few years now. And what it is, it's just an extra side base upturn just after the contact points. That just helps the board initiate the turn, just gives you a faster edge engagement. Also helps it blast through chop and crud a lot better as well. Just gives you confidence that the board's going to do what you want it to do and give you a lot more control. Okay, so moving on to construction. Bataleon use a really good combination of materials on their boards. So heading up the Distortia is the light core. So this lightweight wood core is a combination of 50% poplar and 50% paulownia. Poplar gives the board strength and snap through the length. The paulownia, which is a really lightweight wood, just cuts the overall weight of the board without compromising any of its strength or durability. Now into that, what Bataleon do as well, they mill a channel between the bindings into the core. And then into that channel, they slot a pre-cured carbon fibre tube. And what that kind of pre-cut carbon fibre tube does, just gives the board a little bit more snap through the middle, just kind of gives it a bit more pop and a little bit more power. Then structural layers formed from triax glass. So the biax glass, so it's triax on the Evil Twin. Biax glass, so running the glass at 0 degrees and 90 degrees. That allows the board to flex a little bit easier, just a little bit torsionally softer, obviously for lighter weight riders. To that, they then add carbon fibre cross bracing at the tip and tail. What that carbon fibre cross bracing does is just adds an extra little bit of snap and pop into the tail while still letting the board flex torsionally through the middle. So you've got power, but you've still got control and feel because the board is still flexing naturally through the middle. Base material, sintered Hyperglide S base. So this is a sintered base. It's tougher and more durable than extruded, but you need to keep it waxed to get the best performance from it.